Why do we have so many empty estates in Abuja? I'm sure that's a question everybody's asking. You're welcome to this channel. Once you see this channel, you know it's all about real estate and infrastructure. Go ahead and hit the subscription button, turn on notification, and like this video. If you are familiar with the city of Abuja, I guess you must have seen so many estates littered all over the place. Unfortunately, these estates are empty. While we have so many estates littered all over the place, yet there's a housing deficit in Abuja. Today I will take you on a ride on why we have so many empty estates in Abuja. Being the capital city of Nigeria, Abuja has experienced an explode in population due to migration from other parts of the country in search of greener pasture. That has put a lot of weight on the infrastructure of Abuja. Now the question is, why do we have so many empty estates despite the explosion in population? Based on research and experience in the real estate sector, I can personally say there are a lot of factors. Access to housing in Nigeria remains a persistent challenge, and Abuja is not left out, exhibited by an inefficient mortgage industry, a burgeoning population, inflation, diminishing income, and poverty, among other factors. The housing deficit in Nigeria has surged from 14 million units in 2010 to a staggering 28 million units in 2022, marking a remarkable 100% increase over the past 1.5 decades. Alarming data from the central bank indicates that only 10% of Nigerians aspiring to own homes can afford to do so, underscoring the magnitude of this issue. As of 2023, the housing deficit stands at 28 million units, requiring an estimated 21 trillion naira to rectify the situation. This translates to approximately $34.8 billion based on the average exchange rate of 603 naira to a dollar in 2023, although this figure has experienced fluctuation throughout this year. Despite an estimated average cost of 1.5 million per housing unit, considering factors like inflation and the socioeconomic landscape, this valuation is likely overly optimistic. Against the backdrop of a rapidly growing population expanding by 3.2% annually to an estimated 242 million in 2023, the housing deficit becomes even more pronounced. Current construction efforts amounting to approximately 275,000 housing units per annum fall significantly short, necessitating an estimated 101 years to bridge the existing deficit. This calculation, however, omits the crucial role of the Nigerian government, a pivotal player with the potential to influence production capacity through intervention and policy programs. Moreover, the lack of documentation for a substantial portion of housing development, coupled with demolitions, collapses, and destruction due to insecurities, natural disaster, complicates the statistical landscape. In the light of these multifaceted challenges, addressing the housing deficit in Nigeria demands a sophisticated and continually evolving solution, without which the issue will persist. Furthermore, with the recent inflation, the situation is getting worse daily, with building materials prices skyrocketing, which has definitely increased the prices of housing. A 3-bedroom terrace is now above 100 million naira, while a detached is now from 400 million naira and above, based on land size and infrastructure, reasons why Nigerians cannot afford properties right now. The National Housing Fund, which is a mortgage scheme by the Federal Mortgage Bank of Nigeria to provide mortgage facilities for Nigerians, has in a way failed to do what it was established to do. The National Housing Fund was established to provide mortgage facilities for low-income earners, yet it has failed to cover up to 10% of that demographic. Statistics shows that low-income earners can barely afford equity contribution. Secondly, the process of accessing the housing fund is long and complicated, which makes it more difficult to access. Due to this issue, the few units of houses available leads to tough competition and increment in rent value, which the high-income earners can afford, while the low-income earners struggle to afford. Then again, as a developer, why would I want to build an estate and leave it unoccupied for years? Where did I get the funds from? If it is from a bank, why am I not selling and reimbursing the bank? If it is from investors, why am I not delivering the project and moving with my profit to commence another project? Those are a few questions on why we have so many empty estates in Abuja. As a resident of Abuja, it is a sad situation to see unoccupied buildings, while a lot of people struggle for accommodation, which is a major issue as people migrate into the city. The recent economy reality simply means more people will be migrating into Abuja. Where would they be staying? Can they afford the rent? Will the government intervene in the housing crisis? One obvious fact is that something needs to be done to curtail the housing crisis. Recently, the President of Nigeria introduced a housing scheme, the Renewed Hope Cities, which is a step in the right direction. But in reality, it is nothing compared to the housing crisis Abuja and Nigeria as a whole is facing. The Renewed Hope City housing project is a tangible step in building dynamic, integrated and self-sustaining housing projects. But much more needs to be done by creating more public-private partnership which will focus on affordable homes for low-income earners who are more affected by the housing crisis. The mortgage system needs to be much more effective and fast, as the slow pace of disbursement of funds is also a major part of the housing crisis. Both developers and government needs to be intentional on housing directions, as the focus will have to shift to the present reality of Nigerians. The previous housing policies has led to a mess, and there is a need to tackle it from the roots. Over the years, there have been a lot of housing interventions that helped in curbing housing crisis. Such intervention and much more is needed, as where we are driving to right now is a major housing crisis, and it's actually very dangerous. What Abuja residents are actually asking for is a roof over their head, and the policymakers, which is the government, needs to make sure this is possible. This can be done by looking into the activities of developers, by going into public-private partnership, and by being inclusive in the housing sector with a focus on affordability and luxury, and also by making the National Housing Fund more effective so Nigerians can access mortgage easily.